I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use.
State lawmakers are considering a bill that would ban microchips from being implanted in people. Similar microchips are currently used to track merchandise, find lost pets, and make credit card purchases. Now, Republican State Senator Becky Harris is worried they could someday end up in humans. The ACLU says there is no urgent need to protect humans, but they agree the technology would violate privacy rights and raise serious concerns.
Our constitutional journey did not stop then, and it must not stop now, Judge. And we'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that. And Judge, I need to know whether you will be a justice who believes that the constitutional journey must continue to speak to these consequential decisions, or that we've gone far enough in protecting against government intrusion into our autonomy, into the most personal decisions we make. Judge, that's why this is a critical moment. There are elected officials in this government, such as Mr. DeLay, a fine, honorable, patriotic man, and others, who have been unsuccessful at implementing their agenda in the elected branches. So they've now poured their energies, as the left would if it were different. They've now poured their energies and resources into trying to change the court's view of the Constitution. And now they have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
For people who want massive market, for people who want things without the hard work. That is not going to go away. And I'm telling you, so many people are going to subscribe to these chips because every time they got a new upgrade, they got a new, like, you know, the whole Tesla that automatically upgrades, the new upgrade to the brain, the new upgrade, we have this, a new upgrade to this. There's going to be like 1,000 kids in high school, 920 of them have a 4.5 GPA. Oh yeah. So education goes berserk. This thing can complete, you know how ChatGPT disrupted so many different industries where writers in Hollywood went on strike? Yeah. Because they're like, why am I needed? Exactly. Why do you even need me? Comedians are going out there on ChatGPT saying, can you give me a monologue on this and tell this joke in the style of how this comedian says that comedian, and then boom, let me clean it up, add my own words to it, and go out there and read it, right? So if this thing does what it's capable of doing with the upgrades, why do we need school? Why do we need to go to high school? Why do we need to go to college? What do you need it for? You need information? Just get the link. There's a massive market for people who want things without the hard work.
News that's coming out about the microchip. The U.S. Navy is planning to implant people with microchips as officials are consulting with quote-unquote presidential candidate Zoltan Istvan, who is a guy who is all about promoting, transhumanism. He's all about promoting the microchip. He's accepted the microchip himself, as you can see in some of these photos, and the military is actually going to, it sounds like they are, teasing this idea of having our armed forces implanted with this microchip, which is extremely dangerous, especially starting there, but it's not surprising. Now you have these, our military, if they force all of them to take the microchip, if they make that a policy that if there's the Navy, the Army, the Marines to take the microchip, it certainly is something frightening considering martial law, which is to come, because as most of you know, the microchip won't just be a means of buying goods, it won't just be, for electronic banking and tracking and all those things that are, linked to it. It also will be able to control and manipulate your DNA and things like that. They will have total control of people in a sense. If they get microchipped, they'll be able to do all sorts of things to them by having this inside of their body, which is certainly frightening considering martial law is upon us. And if, a lot of people out there have been talking about martial law saying, well, the military wouldn't go along with that. Well, if these people are microchipped, they easily can be deceived through this technology, through having this computer technology inside of them, and who knows what else they can manipulate as far as the thought process. It's very, very scary to think of that, what is to come. But this just came out yesterday talking about how the Navy is looking into it. And if you read some of the quotes here, this guy who is just fully promoting transhumanism, Zoltan Istvan, he likes to, he talks all about the merger of humans and machines. machines. He goes on to say the Navy is struggling to create policy around soldier or sailors that enter military service with non-authorized chips embedded in them. It makes perfect sense since the tech has grown so small that chip implants can now do a wide range of things: tracking, making payments, monitoring blood flow, and bodily health, and be totally hidden inside of human beings. You can imagine how challenging that would be if someone had a non-authorized chip implant on a nuclear base. So policy has to be created, and created soon. So they're talking already about creating this policy to get Navy personnel microchipped. Of course, at first they'll say it along the lines of, well, it's a choice, but it'll soon be forced upon all these military men. They'll tell them how it's great to monitor their health, how it'll be easy to track them in case a soldier goes and gets lost in war or in combat. They'll say, well, the microchip will be able to find you. Everybody will fall for it and go along with it. This is going to get extremely out of hand and extremely dangerous really, really fast. Now, I want to read from the book of Revelation 13, 16 through 17. Most of you already know this verse, but I want to talk about it because it's still important to remember and see what they're doing here. So, Revelation 13, 16 through 17, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, which is 666. Now, if you'll notice, if you watch a lot of these videos on the people who are actually accepting the microchip, and this has to be going on for reasons, obvious reasons. Number one, that they're testing this out because they want to see how people react, because they know that there are people like me and people who listen to this channel who are very aware of what's going on, who are awake, and they don't want to wake up people who are sound asleep out there, with this microchip, and then people going up to them saying, listen, Revelation, they talk about how you can't buy or sell without accepting this chip or accepting this mark, okay? And, they know that people might get